Hi, it's Melissa Errico, and today, my second episode for the Great Mercyhurst University, we have Gavin Creel. Look who's here in his adorable hat. Hello, Gavin.
The messy hair.
Oh, hiding his messy hair.
There
I'll
you
be
go.
messy for us both. So,
Oh, as if. I love how you're like, I'll be messy and you're like glamour. I'm just like, hey,
no, actually, it's like 3 day show hair, but
it
um,
looks so good.
I'm sure you have lots of showgirl friends who realize that washing it after a show is not always a good idea, so just kind of live it for a few days. So
It's working. It's working. You are living and working. It's good to see you.
oh, it's so good to see you. Let me tell everybody who, if there's just one or two people who don't know all these great things. Gavin Creel made his Broadway debut in Thoroughly Modern Millie, earning his first Tony nomination, and went on to star in the Broadway productions of La Cage aux Folles, Hair, Tony nomination, The Book of Mormon, She Loves Me, Hello Dolly, for which he won a Tony Award, brilliant, Waitress, and Into the Woods. He received an Olivier Award for his portrayal of Elder Price in the London production of The Book of Mormon, and also appeared on the West End in Mary Poppins, Hair, and Waitress. Seems like you need an apartment in London
I
too.
do. Please, please.
Yes, you're so cool. In November 2023, MCC Theatre presented the world premiere of Walk On Through, Confessions of a Museum Novice. Developed and initially presented at the O'Neill National Music Theatre Conference, the work was inspired by Creel's time wandering the collections of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The musical features 17 original songs written by Creel, who made his theatrical songwriting debut with the production. He comes to Mercyhurst University on Wednesday, May 1st for a musical theater masterclass from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. in Taylor Little Theater and a concert at 7:30 p.m. in the Mary D'Angelo Performing Arts Center. How does that feel? You see?
It's never. I'm never used to it, and I'm also. Today's my birthday, so I last
Yeah.
night was a passing from 47 to 48, which is ages I never imagined what they would be like. It's so weird. And also I'm so lucky. And to hear all that, I'm humbled and I'm excited. I don't know. It feels very nice. Thank you. That was a
Well,
beautiful introduction.
happy birthday. I have three teenagers, and uh, uh, we eat everything quickly, and all the cupcakes are gone. But I knew it was your birthday, so I actually made you a little.
No way.
I
Wait,
made you a little cupcake out of blueberries.
that's my thing. Blueberries are my thing. The candy
They
from the
are?
gods. Yes. They're my I don't eat a lot of sugar, and this is what I eat for dessert is bananas and blueberries.
Okay, well, we'll FedEx this to
Oh.
you.
Okay,
Okay.
ready?
And
Ready?
so Sunday in the Park with George is our inspiration for a little limerick I wrote for you. Everybody loves Gavin. Gavin's awesome and kind. Everybody loves Gavin. Gavin's wonderful. Red, green, yellow, and bright blue. Every color will do. On a Zoom for his birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Wait, should I blow it and you blow it for me?
Blow it out.
Hey! Oh, that was the best. That was the best. Thank you. I feel so honored. Melissa Errico just saying to me on my birthday.
I
Thank
wrote
you.
that this morning doing my makeup. You know what? My friend Walter McBride posted it was your birthday, and I said, "Wait a minute, I'm about to go on a Zoom with him."
I love
Anyway,
it.
happy birthday!
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Happy birthday! We are all very happy for your birth, obviously, and you keep birthing things and making things. So should we lead off with our both our love of art and museums? I mean, I'm kind of an art history nerd, and I've been a great fan of yours for a long time. I have followed you my whole career, and even have these three teenagers. And during the pandemic, we did some dance parties to your Whitney Houston remix.
Oh my gosh, no way. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
way. So,
Thank
so
you.
I know how to raise kids.
Thank you.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I love the idea. Sunday in the Park, of course, was a great work of art, and
Oh
the
my gosh.
interplay between, fine art and musicals sometimes, can be bumpy, sometimes can be really incredible. I did do Sunday in the Park with George. The idea of the artist, the idea of the painting, um,
The
and
creative process and like what it is to unearth something to It's the something from nothing kind of thing. The blank, I mean, Sunday in the Park is like the penultimate, but it sort
Yeah.
of summarizes, he summarizes so beautifully. They both do, James and Steve. Like white, a blank page or canvas, so many possibilities,
Yeah.
it's like,
That seems to be your motto in a way.
well, it's daunting and it's also anything's possible. And it's do you know Jonathan Bernstein? Have you come across Jonathan in your travels?
He's one of my oldest and best friends.
He is just a light and a mentor and a friend of mine and a teacher and an inspiration. His mother, Toby Frank, who's his late mother, was an amazing artist, um, and made art for art's sake. She always said to him, everything, life is equal parts, and art is equal parts faith and doubt, but equal parts. And there was
Right.
something so beautiful, and I wrote that into the show one line somewhere, but I I try to maintain a patience with myself because a lot of the times it's so much doubt, it's so much imposter syndrome. There's so like the negative voice in my head has been so present these last few months as I'm trying to like figure out what's next and turning 48 and going, what kind of artist do you want to be, and also what kind of artist does the world want you to be, and does the world want you at the moment? It's hard, it's hard being an actor, finding a way to balance your life and
Yeah.
find purpose when you depend so much on the industry to give you that purpose.
Well, Sondheim would probably say that, in Move On, when he says, what's the second verse? Let
Oh yes.
others make that decision. They usually do. That
Stop worrying if your vision is
is
new.
you. Let others make that decision. They usually do. The next necessary thing is your necessary thing. And if you follow
Yes.
your necessary thing and do it with as you do, mindfully and calmly and with love, and I don't imagine well, you can't even, it's not your job.
I know.
It's
It's
job to
hard.
ignore those voices, actually.
It's hard to though. I will say. And what was neat about this piece is I admit, and the piece's intent is to sort of vulnerably or whatever some people think naively or stupidly or whatever, but is for me to stand on a stage as a grown man and intelligent. I was called. I mean, I've been called dumb by some people who saw the show, but like I am not dumb. I am not. I am an artist. I am curious, and I am thoughtful, hardworking, and passionate. And I stand on the stage and go, I don't know much about fine art. I don't know how to feel about fine art. I've always been sort of intimidated or uh, made to feel intimidated or stupid or not the right class or not the right upbringing or I mean, you went to Yale and studied. You were an art history major, right?
I was an art history major. Yeah, I was an art history major.
That's
But
incredible to also be as talented as you are in musical theater, but to bring those both. I wasn't that person, but I wanted to stand on the stage and say, this show's about belonging to me in the simplest terms. Is like, where do I fit in the world? And I was sort of thinking, I'm an
you're not an
adept.
academic. You don't have to be an academic to be an artist or a performing artist or a theater artist or a
Yeah,
feeling artist or a musician. All of these things that you are, a lyric writer. You don't have to be an academic. I don't know if everybody will know that you began this process uh, as a commission to approach the museum. Do you have to go back sometimes to just the uh, initial interaction with the art and just try to remember how that felt instead of thinking now about the evolution of your success with it, because it has
yes.
tremendous success. It sounds like in a way you have to remind yourself of square one.
You know
So
what? You just helped me because I am in a. I'm going to be honest with you all watching you, Melissa. I'm in a place now where I know I have to do a new draft, and there are things I need to fix, and I want to evolve the art, and I'm stuck. I'm in that place of just like the weeds, and to go back to the source is to go. Okay, the entire project was our friend Lee Mortomer and Aaron Flannery said, "Hey, can we have a chat with you?" And they were like, have a membership card and have at the museum. And when you come up with an idea, the only idea I could come up with was I'm a man who is in a sort of midlife moment of his life where I'm kind of feeling stuck and I don't really know what I love and what I want anymore. So I'm going to try to find this project in this building. And if I can find myself in this building, then I bet I can find myself in the world.
For
That was
sure.
it. And like you said, sometimes you have to go back to the beginning. It's like the greatest ballet dancers in at ABT or New York City Ballet, or they still have to go to the bar and do tendu, flex,
I have
plie.
a Balanchine dancer daughter. I can't even believe the fact that every single day she goes back to first position. It's
Yep.
the wildest thing. I watch her, and I went, there was parent day was last week. I have three teenagers. So maybe it's natural for me to have a maternal, you know,
And educate, and also an educate. You have a passion for education.
I do. I have a passion for self-esteem, actually. The self-esteem is kind of my job in this
Mm,
house. You know, self-esteem and joy, really. Because if we lose our joy, right, then we're somehow sort of just mastering and mastering,
mm-hmm,
mas
mm-hmm.
just
Yeah, passion. Yeah.
task make doers. And but yeah, so I understand what you're saying about Square One. Aren't you on record as having talked about Sondheim? You worked with Stephen Sondheim, and you
Yeah.
saw him in a process that wasn't necessarily smooth. Do I remember?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
feel like there was a thing because I was very interested in his. I always listen to anyone who talks about his developing shows, and there. I feel like you talked about him seeming insecure at some time. That you,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I was in the out of town tryouts of, it was called Bounce at the time, and it was his new show. It's now called Road Show, and it's since been done in at the public and reiterated again and again. But we were there.
Was the song "Isn't He Something" in that show? It
Isn't he
was.
something? Yes, the mother sings it. Well, she sang it in our version. I'm not sure if she still sings it. Yes, it's such
Yeah,
a good
he
song.
recommended that song for my album Sondheim Sublime. He sent me an email. He said, "Could you please sing this?" And I thought,
Oh,
he had so many issues with moms, and it's such a demented mother. She's talking to the bad son about how much she prefers the good son.
mm-hmm,
It's so
mm-hmm.
much about how sometimes we love the person who least deserves it.
Yes, and he felt that from her, I know. It was humbling to see Hal Prince, um, Stephen Sondheim, David Caddick, like these. We had this amazing team. Michael Arnold was our choreographer. We had this amazing
I
team of
love Michael.
people. Yeah, and there's Hal and Steve trying to figure it out. It was kind of baffling. And there were times when he's like, "I think it's this," and I went, "Oh, if he can say I think it's this, but I'm not sure."
Sure.
There's nobody in any creative process that has to have all the answers all the time. You think Sondheim knows. You think he's just like, he opens his mouth and here it is. I saw
Absolutely.
I saw Sweeney Todd last night, and I just marveled at the way how can you imagine having been there on the first, like the invited dress of Sweeney Todd, which I heard, save for the one song that he cut of the judges, that it arrived like almost fully formed.
Yeah.
How
He always wanted to do that. He had a passion for that show. He had a vision, really. I guess he knew he wanted to do that. Grand Guignol, I think it's called.
Yes, yes, Greg Vignon. Yeah.
Something. You're very inspiring to me right now. You're reminding me I'm surrounded by all of my art books from my art history
Let's see
back.
him. Come on. Let's see him.
Yes, yeah, there are actually that is a lot of art history. That's actually art theory books, which are the ones we don't want to look at because right? Because theory isn't going to get us anywhere. But I never wrote the play I wanted to write. And so let's just
What
make
what
me
it
feel
what
good about it. I wanted to write a play about this person. I wrote it when I was at Yale and I never finished it. She was an artist called Artemisia Gentileschi, and you may recognize this because don't you have the Judith cutting off the head of Holofernes in your show?
I do. Gosh, you are so studied. My God, what a wonderful interview. Yes. Wait, tell me about her. Tell me
Well,
about
I
Artemis.
really wanted to write a play about her, and I started to. And the reason, well, she was a feminist. She was,
Mhm.
her father was a painter. She had a great story. Sometimes you're going to get energy. Art history people are like empaths, really. We're a lot like actors. We art history people. I'm an actor and an art history nerd. Artemisia's story and then the stories within the stories are going to give you, I mean, a lot of energy. They never gave me enough courage like what you have to write. But Artemisia herself was the child of Orazio Gentileschi. Haven't thought about this in literally a decade, but she was the daughter of a successful painter. This is in the 1600s when women weren't allowed to be artists. She was the first woman eventually that was admitted into the Leonardo's school
Oh,
uh,
wow.
in Florence. So she's the first woman who ever got a formal art education there. So she learned to paint, and while she was aspiring to be a good painter and watching her father, who was a marine life painter, he did marine frescoes and things, probably crappy ones, um, his friend would come over and rape her. And
Oh, jeez.
it was an awful thing. And what she ended up doing was using the history of art to show women doing strong things and often
Amazing.
retributions and things against men. And her artwork was so powerful and was so much about women processing violence and processing
Wow.
being, like this woman had been raped, Lucrezia. Look at her. She's
Oh
thinking.
yeah, the Rape of Lucretia. That's right. Oh my
Right,
gosh.
right.
Wow.
And then there's a very
It's
famous
very, it's
painting.
very Caravaggio. She has a Caravaggio feel about
Yes.
her, doesn't
Did
she?
you?
Yeah.
Hello. Don't know anything about art. That's all
Well,
you need to know.
learning. That's for sure.
She's
Yeah.
called the Caravaggista. She was a woman who painted in his style. And so
Ah.
here's another one of Holofernes. This is the guilty one where the women are hiding the head and they're in the dark.
Wow. Look at the use of light. Oh my gosh.
Use of light. You see, you know what
Oh,
you're talking
it's so
about.
beautiful.
So it's not the Bible per se that turned me on. It was who she was, right? And she went on to have many daughters. And
Judith did or Artemisia?
Artemisia did. So I would love to write a play about Artemisia and her daughters. I live with daughters, right? And
You
I'm
should
living in
do
a
it.
time. I should do it. Maybe I should talk to you on off
Well,
this.
also, this is, we don't have to keep this in here, but I would say, like, I know you have a project coming up. I don't know if you want to talk about it yet, but like, is there any way you could fold in just a couple of those songs? Could there be anything that just takes a little sweet,
Oh,
like a little,
I can say it on the thing because we don't want to edit much. Brett doesn't edit these things, but I am going to be working with the Met on something at the cloisters that's kind of French. But all I'm trying to say is that art history is for everyone. It's just wherever the work is yours to respond to. Some people would say I should be interested in whatever Bible, the composition,
Sure.
whatever. Somebody else would be like, oh, she's too personal about it. It's not about, the rape was a lie. I was in Italy and I heard an art historian looking at her work, and I was in some crazy small town. I had gone on these wacky pilgrimages. You might want to do this too. If you're trying to shake your project a little, go on pilgrimages to where it was from, or
Right, right.
little towns where it's being shown now, if the artwork's on tour, just it's like rock and roll. You're a rocker.
Yeah, yeah.
Get on the
I do
road.
my own version. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, let's go back to you.
That's
So,
fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with me. That's
no,
beautiful.
it's you inspire you inspire that kind of thing. Have you ever sung Finishing the Hat?
No, I have a dream of doing George. I'm getting probably way too old to play it, but like,
No, you're
I,
not.
I don't know. I don't know. He was younger than I was, but like, I think it would be fun to do it and not. I'll say something about theater at the moment. For me, there's something I don't know what the answer is, and I don't want to be that guy who's just screaming into the void with no solution, because I think that's a lot of times not a great energy. But I am going to say the obvious, that our industry is at the moment too expensive. Everything costs too much. It's too cost prohibitive. It's become like a real estate business rather than, well, it is a real estate business ultimately, but like than an art making business. And I would love to see commercial theater, Broadway, be able to find its way back to allowing shorter runs, new voices, new people to come in, and the pressure of it has to last 15 years or it has to make back $28 million.
Right.
But the idea that like we can maybe, I don't know, take risks and find new ways. What did you just say that made me jump onto this? You just said something and I was like, oh, that made me think of that. Oh gosh, my brain, if we could rewind it, I can't remember what it was. But I guess I'm excited this season by how many things are coming in. And I hope that there's a way we can find more things to come in if things have to find their own path away from Broadway. But I guess I know what it was. It was a Sunday in the Park. I always thought that like, well, if you really want to play a part, you got to play it on Broadway. And I'm learning now, especially because of the cost prohibitive nature of making art, I think if I could find a really great little theater that I can actually get up and do it in a beautiful way with people that I trust, in a manner that I did walk on through for 102 people a night. That was it. And they were right in this play with me, and we made the space to feel like a deconstructed art gallery and the side of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And I every night just sort of went on this journey with them. And I
Mhm.
think it would be really neat to, it would be really neat to, I would love to make Walk On Through, take it around the world and do, I'd love to do it for a limited run on Broadway in the West End or whatever. And then maybe, since I will be known as like this guy who did this art thing or talked about art, then go do Sending the Park in like somebody's garage. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Find some,
absolutely.
I also want to play Mrs. Lovett. I was watching Sweeney Todd last night and I was like, God, is there any way there's, you'd have to mess with the keys of the score so much, but how cool would it be if you had like a woman playing Sweeney Todd and and a man playing Mrs. Lovett? And because there's such a battle between the masculine and the feminine in that, like
Yeah.
she's so playing at being dainty, but actually she's complicit in this murderous deed, and he's so angry and lost, but he's got such this deep pain that he's unwilling to really tap into. It's
All Sondheim's characters are all these
oh
contradictions. I actually sang "Finishing the Hat" on PBS this in the past couple of years, like 2 years ago or something. There was a PBS special that was a feminism thing and about reversing gender, and I sang
oh
"Finishing the Hat." And
how was it?
well, finishing the hat as a woman is a lot different than as a man because it's asking, can you have a domestic life and be a obsessed creator, and it's been a challenge for me. I have 3 children and I've spent my life, uh,
You're like is that
prioritizing children and art. I'm sort of,
ah. There you go.
that's like, I sang that at the online, the 90th birthday concert in the pandemic.
Oh,
I sang that in this room even.
oh,
And the kids needed dinner. My husband was downstairs with COVID, but finishing the hat, you watch the rest of the world from a window while you finish the hat. Well, you see if the outside the window are my kids, they need to do something. I don't know that I can watch them through the window. I need to go and then come back. And uh, so,
I would say also, Melissa, I have a lot of my closest friends are women, and many of them are mothers now,
yeah,
and
Celia,
have,
right, and stuff. Yeah,
it is an not necessarily anyone's fault, but it is an unjust path in our business for women and women who want to be mothers, especially because you have to trade your body and the sacrifices you do to, like, you have to stop doing what you've done, your identity, and then you are not adequately supported in this industry to be a mother, to raise kids, to travel to and from, to have daycare. Like, there is not an understanding or an equitability to that process. And for everyone who has done that heroic journey to, hello, sustain life, bring good humans into the world, our industry is way behind on supporting women who want to have families. It's so I applaud you, and I applaud my best friend Celia and my wonderful
yeah.
friend Sarah, who's working on having family, and my best friend Catherine, who has 3 kids and has traded a large part of her personality, of her identity, so that
Yeah.
she can do something that satisfies her and at times infuriates her, both of them. So my hat's off to all women and you and everybody who do that. It is huge that you do that.
Well, you say 48. I mean, I'm a bit older than you, and they're going to go to college, and so I have to think of it as, another chapter, another
Oh
opportunity, which
yeah.
you will for yourself at some, as well. But yeah, I think the crazy thing is that raising the kids has given me so much information, so
Mm,
much emotion. So in some ways, I can't even say like, yes, again, who cares in some way what everybody says? I know that it's all there and it's all in the voice and it's all
yeah.
coming. It's all still, to be written. So I know you don't want to talk for too long. It is your birthday. I wanted to ask you just a little bit about the concerts and things that you do when you're
Yeah.
not when you do have this gorgeous project. that you will continue to
Yep.
tour and everybody will love it and it will have, you'll figure it out,
Yeah, I will.
I'm sure you're hiding that it's already figured out. But
It's largely it's in an incredible shape. I
yeah,
just looking forward to like that next draft and really giving it to the world now. MCC was the most unbelievable place to have our world premiere. We sold out the whole run. We had two extensions. It was a an unbelievable success at the theater. And I still, as an artist, I'm like, okay, I know where I can make this thing better. So it's just like tinkering.
yeah.
But to answer your question, my passion. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, keep tinkering. I was going to ask you, when you do your concerts, and so when you have to, let's say, step away from this Gavin who's created this thing, and then also you inhabit that with your insecurities and with your story, but you are now in a narrative about fine art, and we all can't wait to see where that goes. But when you do a concert, for example, how do you approach? Do you take theater music? How do you choose your? How do you create another narrative for yourself? And if you do
Yeah.
theater music, do you set it up like an actor and sort of give them the situation, or are we in your because you're such a philosopher? Yeah, I'm.
Yeah, it's the latter. Like I have friends. I'm not sure. You have to tell me who you are, and you may be a blend of both because I'm sort of a. I am. We're all a blend of both, which is my tattoo. I have one tattoo and it says both to remind me
Oh
that I'm not one thing or the other. I'm
my God,
both.
you're at Sondheim. You've tattooed the Sondheim ethos on your wrist.
It
Be
was
two, be two things at once, and then
yes.
you're. If you are a contradiction, he said contradiction is mother's milk to me.
Oh, of course. Of
Contradiction is mother's milk to me. I mean, how good is
course he
that?
did. That's so good. Yeah.
So
Well,
tell me, so you're saying, so when you're working, you're both.
you know how some you have to tell me who you're. I am a person who feels extremely comfortable, loves being myself on a stage in front of people. And I have friends of mine, like Will Swenson and I were talking about this the other day, and we were doing these cabarets on a cruise together,
Oh, yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, I dread this stuff. I just hate getting up here and singing. I don't like singing in front of people, and I don't like. I like playing a character, and I like diving into a character, and that's when I'm freest." And I said, "I know you can do both, Will. I've seen you, and he's so funny and self-effacing and talented and beautiful on a cabaret stage. It's not where he feels strongest and most powerful, but
Mhm.
it is where I feel strongest and most powerful. Being present with you here, a general audition is so much better for me than having to read lines on camera or like go in and play a character. Whereas I have a lot of friends who are like, oh no, give me a character, give me lines, tell me what to do, and I'm free. I can do both, but I am much more free. So to come to Mercyhurst, it hits two parts for me. My favorite role in the arts
Or
is
concerts in general, just when you have to get up and do a concert, you like
well,
it. First of all,
I love it. I love it.
so many people, I can't say all the names of the famous people I know, they dread it.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing, and I've worked on it. But for the first, I'd say 10 or 15 years of since I started, my first concert I did like 2000 or 2001 or 2002. I can't remember until uh, when I was like the first 13 years. I only wanted to perform songs I was writing because I didn't want to get on stage and sing Broadway stuff.
You're such a good writer, by the way, and the
Thank you.
lyrics.
Oh, thank you.
I
Thank you.
have a vision of a collected lyrics book, like what Lin-Manuel Miranda did for my
Yeah.
teenagers. I bought it for them, that they have this little book, and they can, that before they go to bed, I think it's called Good Night. I think you should do one with. You're not going to be allowed to get the art, probably because of art
Yeah,
academics
yeah, yeah.
lock it down. But you could probably get a little cartoon of the art, right, made, or
That would be really cool.
yes, and like
Yeah,
with little sections of your songs, and then a soft cover so that it's some way something you can take on tour with you, put under your pillow.
love that. Oh my
I
God.
think, yes, call me.
Art,
I
art.
really think your lyrics could be put into.
Oh,
But anyway,
thank
you were
you.
saying, so just
I,
put that aside. That's
I will,
another.
I'm gonna add
Yeah.
that to the merch pile. Like,
Yeah.
but I wanted to only sing songs that I'd written because you could see me play characters on stage, but I want to be able to practice writing and sharing. And then I realized it would be very helpful for me not only to make a living and to get to meet more people, but I'm known as a musical theater person, and I wanted to be a pop star, and I made independent records that I'm really proud of, and they're all very different. And the music industry wanted me to make the same song 13 times. I met so many managers, and they were like, "We have no idea who you are." you're different from every track. And I'm like, well, yeah, we're theater people. That's what we do. And people can hold it. I do think I was too soon because now I think in
Your
artists, pop
voice
artists.
is so records so uniquely well.
Oh, thank you. Pop artists now,
Oh,
they're doing like very varied song from song. It was just at a time when they wanted like Kelly Clarkson's "Since You've Been Gone" was a hit at the time, and they like we want 13 of those, and I was like, no, that's so boring to me. So I made those records. I'm proud of them. They were very snapshots of my life. But then I thought, when I do concerts, I think about the audience, like who's there? What are they going to enjoy? Because if they're going to be warmed to a material that they're like, oh, I love this song, then we are going to have a better relationship. They may not be songs that I sing all the time in my house. I listen to meditation music most of the time in my house, but like, I think about, okay, Mercyhurst, and I've got a bunch of cabarets coming up across the country, and I'm like, give them some stuff so that they feel like, Pat, we're in the ocean together. You have no idea where we're going to go, and there's no boat. And I jump in the water with you. I'm going to toss out as many life rafts as I can. Hold on to these. Here's Something's Coming. I sing it at every concert I do. I will always sing that song. I'll just lower the key as I get older.
Sondheim liked that one. It's the only one he liked from West Side Story. Did you know?
Really?
Yeah, you gotta get into this. He loved, it's the only song he really, he thought was good.
Oh, I love it. It does that thing to me. I do some Sunday close. I'll give a few songs from shows I've done, but then I'm going to give you songs that I fell in love with at the theater that you might not know, but you'll already be floating, so you can handle that. And then I'll give you an original song, and it's just I like to introduce, like you said, a little more of a philosophical journey, and it's always an exploration of music, and it's always in my living room. I try to make us feel like just sit down. Who wants a glass of wine? Like I'm not formality. I'm not recital. I don't like people feeling like there's an entrance and a regality to what I'm doing. It's just not me. I love seeing it when people get up there and they have the evening gown and you're a class act. So I know that there's a cast spell you cast that is like floats above.
Yeah,
And,
but
and
we get jazzy and we go Pat Metheny and
oh,
into the
come
world.
on.
Go over. I mean, I actually have an improv on Move On that's inspired by Pat Metheny, and we actually do it with a symphony where everybody's in an improv, 100 people, and I have no idea how it works out. I completely there's a whole section, and then it gives me the chance to, when the concert's over, say, anything you do, let it come from you. Then it will, you,
Uh,
and it's all like this kind of sublime, funky, jazzy, like Ricky Lee Jones thing that like is in my head. So
love it.
my concerts are not formal, but they're
Well, no, I
a little
don't
like
mean,
you in some ways, because I'm always looking for ways that like my spirit today will come through those
yes,
songs. I'm
yes.
not about like I was in this show and I'm going to make it amazing. Still, look how fresh the voice is. I don't do that. I'm like, Eliza has grown up now, you know.
Yes. But that's what we want. We don't want to have this. Well, also, I want to be clear. I don't mean elevated as in stuffy. I mean
Like prepared in a sort of way that's like
but beautifully, like just. And I think I play, but I too, I never want people to think that I'm not taking it serious. I've never taken stuff more
just
seriously.
saying that. Yeah. Well, jazz,
Yeah.
I mean, you can say jazz isn't prepared, right?
Oh, but oh my gosh, isn't it? Isn't it though? Right, yes, yes.
Right? I mean, I was at a jazz concert for Andy Ezrin the 2 nights ago at Birdland. He's a great artist, and his producer worked with Steely Dan and did, Donald Fagen's records and stuff. And they were in the room, and it's amazing. You watch the musicians, and just literally as the song is beginning, Andy goes, "No repeat, watch." Or something, just as it's starting. Like, and I turned to my mate who I was with, my plus one, and I said, "That was rehearsal.
Yes, that was
No
it.
repeat, watch." And like that was it. And they all were like, okay, so no repeat, watch. So watching something, I don't know what watch meant, but like that's I wasn't, I didn't sit there and go like, oh God, these guys didn't prepare this song.
They're so hooked in.
They're so
Yeah,
hooked in. They're so hooked in.
yeah.
Okay, so before we go, are there any rituals that you have, or before? I've written in the New York Times about like a nightly ritual I have of having to find a stranger to zip me into my dress. So
You
it's
do?
Yes, I can't. I'm usually by myself on the road,
Oh,
and
oh, yeah. Oh, so now whenever you're,
appearances, I have to figure out, ritualistically, like how am I going to get in the dress?
that is so funny.
And I've interviewed some very famous people, in my life, but recently with Betty Buckley, she talked about holding hands and prayer and all this stuff. I don't even know where my musicians are until the the hit. Like, Ted Firth's butt hits the chair at
Oh,
7:56, and I'm like, thanks for showing up, Ted. He's amazing, but he likes to keep it loose, so we should.
yeah, yeah.
So no prayer circles, but do you, and do you,
Rituals.
there a practice that you really can't miss, or is there a superstition? Is there a candle you light? Is there a ceremony in any way?
That's a
Uh,
good question. I don't think I have any that come to mind. I have a tendency to, I was a swimmer growing up, so I shake my arms. I'm always shaking my arms. That's how I kind of feel. This is how I do it. I stand like this, and I go like this. I'm always shaking my arms. I'm like, ooh, like they just shake, and I'm like, ooh. And kind of, Melissa, it's the way I feel God. It's like it kind of makes the spirit go through my body. That's just from swimming. You know how do you ever, Michael Phelps when he does that thing when he goes like that?
oh, do you know Michael Phelps? I love Michael Phelps for one reason. Did you ever hear that his coach used to break his goggles before his some of his competitions so that he would learn to work under distress?
Oh gosh, what those major Olympians do is nuts to me. That's crazy to
Yeah, but
take his
that's
vision
fine
away.
because then
And
you learn to work under not ideal circumstances.
he's prepared. He's prepared.
Yeah, he's prepared for things to not work. Be. That's why I go on the road now, and even with his family, I've been for years just running around, because practice is making me funny. Like you cannot surprise me. A
Yeah,
heckler, short of any scary hecklers,
sure. Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, there's that. But just very little can surprise me on this. Even singing "Not Getting Married Today" or something, and it completely going wrong. Which is
But
I
that,
can't.
but that's the candy that we crave. We crave the humanity, I think the more we have these, and we're editing and filtering everything and trying to exact things, we're getting away from the danger of what we actually don't realize. That's what we love most. We love the danger and the thrill of the liveness. That's what we do as actors and performers. We're not self-tapers. Like everything is self-tape now, and it's like sure, but in the end of the day, you got to be on stage and you got to be up for fun and danger and joy, 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 joy.
Joy. I wrote a piece actually in the Times about self-taping, and I did so many interviews, and I finally found the guy who owns the word self-tape. He actually,
Oh,
copyrighted it.
oh my
He
gosh.
created the idea of self-taping. He lives in LA. I think it's selftape.com if you want to find the guy. You could find the article as well. But what was interesting was that his goal with self-taping was he knew years ago, this was years ago, and I've even gotten letters from the Times, you were ahead of your time. I'm like, no, I wasn't. I knew I was having self tapes and I was screwing them up actually. I got like one agent just it was sick with just not happy with my self tapes. I now know how to do them, but anyhow. So
Yeah.
years ago this was a problem because we were like, how do you do the thing and how do you do the voice and how do we do a backdrop and what?
Oh yeah.
But this guy's knew about AI years ago, and he told me it's in the piece. His goal was to be able to create a self tape where we will be three-dimensional actors and we'll walk into the room three-dimensionally. And the group, that's we're auditioning for will feel us in the room. That was, I said, why don't we just walk in the room?
Yes. Hello. Can we just go?
Right. So that was like that was my big, I was so compelled to write this article because this goal of self-taping was to create the three-dimensional self-tape. And I was like, I could be the three-dimensionally in your, guess what? Call me and
Yes.
I'll show up.
Yeah. What
And
what a concept. What a concept, Melissa.
what a concept. Well, happy birthday to you. I have been in another musical that was about fine art. I played Venus, the goddess of love, in Kurt Weill's One Touch of Venus.
Oh,
That was some time ago, but I feel so lucky that Venus has bumped into you
I'm happy. I'm happy to be
at
in
the
the presence of a
museum.
goddess. Yes.
Oh, yes, thank you. Oh, yes, the mother goddess. So, Anything else you want to tell us that you're looking forward to, or?
I am really excited to be at Mercyhurst on the first, and most of all, I'm excited to get to do the masterclass and be with students who are passionate about. All I do is try to demystify the distance between me and them, and help them understand that it's not as complicated as we make it, and that's my practice every day. So I'm going to try to do the same thing on stage at the concert and share as much of my heart and my talent as I can.
I think you should have an ashram as well. And we all just come and hang out with you, a creative kind of. I think there's so much. I think you're going to have some sort of.
I'd
Um,
love that.
there's just something, yeah, we should all go to a beautiful retreat and just, feel, the impact really of your good wishes for
Well,
everybody. And
very kind. Thank you.
you're an
And
amazing
may
person.
everybody find their own creative spirit. That's the thing. I know you found it, and we keep trying to cultivate it. So that's where it's at.
That's
Yeah.
right. Anything you do, let it come from you, then it will come
Amen.
to you. And happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Melissa.